Kevin,
So-
you can start the
Oh, sorry.
record lights
Oh, recording. Oh, okay. We have now officially opened the cemetery committee meeting. We're going to do roll call. We'll start with Susan.
Sue Polidora. Celeste Brooks.
And welcome Celeste. She's our newest member. Yay.
Thank you.
Sue Sterry.
Didi Forte.
Eva Boyce.
Carrie Rubenstein.
Michael Griffin. Corin Hallowell, City of Portsmouth.
Suzanne Woodland, City.
Okay. Did everybody have a chance to look over the minutes from last time, and if they found any mistakes to let us know? Or can we go ahead and approve them?
They were fine to me. I looked at them.
So do you want to make a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from our April meeting.
I'll second it.
Great. We have a lot of stuff, so.
Aye.
Oh, all right. I'll get it done by the time I retire from here. No. Work on that. We have a lot of stuff to go over, so I'm just going to go. Some of them are just like real quick updates for you, everybody. So first one is New Hampshire Historic Registry. I did not see it, but people came up to me and said they saw on the news and in the newspaper
Yeah.
that we were approved. So, which is really great.
For Union.
For Union Cemetery.
Yeah.
That. She said she was sending a packet. Do you know if it went to your office? It may
I've
not.
not seen anything yet. I
Okay.
would expect it would come, given my letter, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything yet.
I think she said she was going to send out two, one to you and one to me. But so we're looking forward to that. I don't know what happens after this, if there's a ceremony. I know we get a sign, that type of thing. So, but we did get it, which is really great. And a lot of people saw the report, so that's getting us out there. Moose Plate Grant. We did get approved to apply for the Moose Grant, which is really good. Eva has done all the hard work as far as filling out the application. I did, which is what I was trying to call you about yesterday, Corin. I did a walkthrough with a gentleman from Pickering Maritime, who they do seawalls all the time. This is, when you get a chance, I have downloaded pictures of what we're talking about for the rest of the committee. That wall, I haven't been able to find out what date the wall was built, but it's not anything new. A lot of the boulders that came from the wall are sitting right next to the wall, as you can see. And then the other half of the cemetery never had any stones there. That part would be a different project, and we wouldn't have to build a stone wall there.
Which cemetery?
This is Union and North.
Oh.
So this is right behind Union Cemetery. That's where the, the tomb is right there. So this is pretty much what the wall, what kind of shape it's in right now. It's not going to fall apart in the next 5 years, but it needs to be taken care of anyway. So, so when I walked the property low tide yesterday, he let me know it was a very doable project. He felt that because he works with the Department of Environmental Services all the time, there's not even 50% of the wall has to be touched, because maybe only a quarter of it. So we may be able to not have to go through getting permit from the DES. So I'm trying to get a hold of the state to have them come down. His general consensus is that as long as these boulders don't have any moss or seaweed on them, they can be moved. But if they have growing seaweed or moss on them, we can't touch them. But most of them don't. That's it for right now. He was going to send us an estimate. I told him we had applied to a grant for the $20,000. He felt that it was doable at that price, that we don't have to bring in any barges or anything like that. Yeah.
How are they proposing to move the rocks?
Backhoe that they use it specifically.
From the water? Or from?
No, he measured and from the front gate straight.
Down the path?
Yep. He said the only damage that would generate would be like when it turns,
Yeah.
it would tear up some of the grass,
Like a
but,
mini excavator with a thumb or something, okay.
yeah, exactly. And again, this is only research, so when we came to you, I mean, and when we got the DES to come down, then I definitely would want you to be there, but. And
That's
he,
what I was going to ask. If you're going to bring someone from the state down to talk about permitting, if you could just coordinate with Corin.
oh, yeah, beyond, anything beyond just a contractor.
That's my cell phone. You probably called my office. I'm not in there
Yeah.
much this time here, so sorry I didn't.
That's okay. That's not a problem. I was hoping we'd see you here. So anyway, that's what Eva's working on at this point in time. So keep your fingers crossed. We may be able to get that wall fixed. Even if you can't see it from the street, you can see it from the rest of the mill pond anyway. And it's a safety issue. Because further down, this is a bigger project where the wall wasn't. There are headstones that are literally inches.
They're going to sink into the mill pond.
Right, they're literally inches. And there are also a couple of those trees. I was telling Michael the other day, the trees, the big ones, come down, the roots fold under like this, and they have bark over them now. But underneath, a good 2 feet, it's already eroded more than half of the size of the tree underneath. So I've never seen that, so I don't have any idea when that might fall into the bay or. So it has to be taken care of, but the big reason is because of the graves that are right along that eroded edge.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Did you see there was a sewer project right adjacent to the cemetery this week?
Yeah.
Oh, just curious.
Yeah, oh, I don't know.
I'm not involved with sewer projects. I have
Yeah,
no idea.
So I got out of my, it was right next to the Union Cemetery and a house that abuts it.
Oh, the new one that they're building.
I know they were working on the railroad tracks.
No, this was, on the other end.
They're,
And, so I stopped and asked the guy what they were doing, and he said, we've got permits, everything's okay. And apparently, everybody who's somehow associated with the cemetery or the town had stopped and asked about it, and they were very defensive, but they were not disturbing anything. It was just right next to some
yeah.
graves, so.
There is a buffer line, but that area is grandfathered in.
Yeah.
Those houses have been next to that cemetery for hundreds of years, or at least 150 years, I would say. So as long as they're not touching anything inside the wall, then they're,
There was a big trench, and there were people in it, but
yeah,
that's it. Just wondered if you knew.
yeah, no. Well, if they had found anything, they would have told somebody, so.
They were very aware.
There's a reporting requirement. First, you're not allowed generally unless you've got special permission to work within 25 feet of the edge of a cemetery, and then you have reporting requirements if you find anything under state law.
Yeah, no.
They were.
Yeah. No, and I knew about the grandfathered in, if you're there, you can still have to be careful. So,
I wanted to,
Yep,
may
sorry.
I ask?
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the boulders that had, lichen on them and things like
Right.
that. So, so if you went down there, you would see the masonry's all gone. It's just all, yeah. So, but if there are boulders and we can't touch them, are they going to supply new things?
No. No, they're not going to help us with that. It's the Environmental Protection Act. They may say it's okay. I mean, if it's not.
Can they make a wall with just what's there, a viable wall that?
Well, that's what because
Secure.
you can see where where they actually fell out in the case of many
Yes.
of them. So,
Yes.
no,
okay.
I don't think.
I didn't know we couldn't touch some. It's possible. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought we'd pick them up, dust them off, and put them back up. But
No.
that's not the case.
Yeah. So and also.
Create a viable wall. No
Oh
matter
yeah.
what.
Oh yes, it will be suitable. No question about it.
Okay, wonderful.
So,
And are they going to give you an estimate?
yeah, it should be here next week.
Wonderful.
So I can
And then
get-
I can
Yeah.
build it into the
Well, you'll
grant?
have to wait, because we'll have to get someone down from the state to let us
Yeah.
confirm that we
Right.
actually can pick up the boulders
Yeah,
and put them
okay.
in place, so.
Okay.
I think what would be helpful is we should probably, a small group of us, maybe sit down with Corin and all of us and talk further about this, because you got a cost for, it sounds like, just kind of replacing in kind. You know, and I don't know what the long-term plans, I don't remember whether the restoration project looked at that at all. But there are ways, if you do more permitting and spend more money, to, you know, do a different type of construction, which would require permitting. It would allow for remortaring or other pieces to the wall. So I think we should probably have a conversation with plans in front of us, or maybe meet outside. I mean, Corin, do you think that would make sense to kind of look
I
at?
think it depends on the really overall objective of the committee. I mean,
Yeah,
if
I
it's
think
just
that's the
to
question. What's the
It's-
objective?
do what you're talking about,
It's just to
which is just
stabilize-
to shore it up with
shore
what's
it up
there.
for now.
That sounds like a
And then-
really great plan to me.
And then the second half would be later on, it's a much bigger project. The state won't allow us to build another wall. They're going to have us fill it in with just free boulders, you know,
Yep.
bring in 16-wheelers. I mean, yeah, 16-wheelers.
It sounds like really the first phase would be
Is
what you're
just
talking-
strictly this.
just to prevent any further deterioration.
Right.
Exactly.
There's a whole other phase of
Okay.
like, what are we
Yeah.
going to do really long term about
Right.
rebuilding to protect to stop the erosion that's
Right,
actually.
and this gentleman too,
Where they are.
Okay,
Okay, good.
It's great. Yeah.
All right.
yeah, I mean, I was going to talk to him too, but I mean, that's
All
what I
right.
could
I
do.
just want to make sure we're all
On the same page,
Good.
yes, absolutely.
And what the whole,
Yeah,
whether you're going to achieve what you wanted to achieve. So that
Yeah.
was, Corin
Yeah.
asked
It
the right
sounds like-
word. What's the objective?
And this is what we talked about after the last meeting on
Yeah.
site. Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, we
Okay.
did go over it, that's right. So that's one thing that's in the works. If it doesn't happen this year, then that's fine if we don't get the money, but at least we'll have the experience of the process, and then next time, it's not going roughly now, but you never know, so. And then the
I want them to know we're here, you know. I want to turn in a good grant proposal so they know we're here, and when they see them coming down the road, they'll know we're a good organization that, you know, has a handle on
what we're doing.
what we're doing.
That's a good
And I
point.
think they will. And the people
point.
that I've talked with up at Historic Preservation, they're lovely people. And they really want us to succeed, but,
Yeah.
and also, just so you know, there's a time constraint on this. The grant is due in Concord at June 22nd. And I certainly would like for it to be there, not at the 11th hour. And again, that's, you know, more of, we're on the ball and we're going to get it done. So now that we've gotten this far with, and Sue took, in my mind, I always call it like the perp walk. And has done that walk. And this is the only thing that's left to put on the grant proposal. And Suzanne, on the grant proposal, they asked for a contact person and so forth, and you are that person, so.
And send it to me in the first instance,
Right.
and I'll coordinate with Corin.
Okay,
Yep.
so I can put your phone number and
Yes, you
email
may.
and all that stuff. I knew I could, but I felt I should ask permission.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.
And I know you guys were going to send me a copy of the draft grant.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All of that.
When it's all done, I will send it over to you.
We'll let you do the hard part, trying to get it signed. The next one is the L-CHIP grant. Chris had initially said he would do that, but he just doesn't have time. And it's $80,000 in it. We do have to have matching funds. What I thought, it's not too late, is if we were interested, since we're working on Union and North Cemetery, to be our showcase, I guess, so when we go for the other cemeteries to bring them back to life too, that the tomb that I have no idea, I haven't been able to research it, why they tore it down, this tomb right here, which is a part of the original cemetery, they tore down all the bricks and left the front there, which it looks absolutely stupid, my personal opinion, but you may not feel that way. The bricks, they dumped them to the side, which was illegal. They dumped them into the water on the edge. And more bricks are in the back on the flat, which was also illegal whenever this happened back in 2015 or 16 or what have you. I would like us to try, as an exercise, to go after the money to reuse those bricks and rebuild that and make it, I guess, that you can't break into proof. There's plenty of ways to do that. So, I mean, the excuse was, people were living in there. Well, you can certainly, lock a place up so people can't get in there. And we would be able to use, I think, probably at least 60% of the original bricks that were there. But I can't make that decision. It was just something that Eva and I were talking about it, and Dee and stuff like that, of what to go after. And it maybe around $40,000, and then hopefully we would have matching funds. And those are just secure funds to make sure that we actually use the money. Hopefully, if the budget passes, we'll have dedicated $40,000 coming to us for a few years. So, and plus we have other money in the cemetery account and the trust. So I just wanted to throw that out to us today because there is a time limit on it, just like there is on the Moose Chip grant. If anybody has any ideas or feelings about it.
What's the point?
The point is we're going to turn the cemetery back into the original state that it was. And that's where it was, and the materials are there. So, or either rip down that, because that looks stupid.
That would probably be the best solution.
To rip that down?
I don't know.
The tomb?
I like the history of
Just
it.
the front face of it, that's all that's left.
I'd much rather spend any kind of money that comes in on repairing some of the other tombs, because many of them are leaning, they're going to require to be repaired.
Oh,
I know when they did that, because I went there to get pictures taken with all of the homeless people that were living in there, all their laundry all over the place. So they pretty much made it so it was unlivable. I'm not crazy about the idea that they just took the bricks and you just put them on the side like that. But, I don't want to just tear it down because it's part of the history of the cemetery. But if I have money and I could either spend it on rebuilding that receiving tomb or on the other markers that need repair, I would take it to fix the markers that need repair.
Yeah.
We have authority to tear things down?
It would not be something that we can just go ahead and do. It's
Have to get permission from somebody?
being that it's a historical site,
Well, no, no.
it's a federal site,
And
it's a national historical places.
Yeah.
So it would not be, you would have to have a lot of signatures from a lot of people saying, yes, okay to do that. But my personal opinion, if I had the money to do that, either removing that or use it to fix some of the things some of the headstones that are broken, I would prefer to use them to fix the headstones that are broken.
It's a tough choice.
Well, this isn't either or do it today type thing. We're going to be fundraising money for a long time, so.
And this here, I'm familiar with the L-chip. You have to have that fund, the matching fund already in your account before they even decide to give you any kind of money.
I understand that. I've spoken to Suzanne about it. If we go through the process of at least applying, we'll figure that out. It's not either or that we have to do it, or that it is doable, or it may be very doable. We just don't know at this
I'm
point.
part of another group that did an L-chip grant, and just the pre-qualifications for it are pretty elaborate. They needed to have a study, cost them several $1,000s to do it. So just to get that information that they needed done, that part.
What's the deadline for the L-chip for this year?
It's later in June.
It's a little later. But
It's like the end of June or maybe.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
not, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like we have the whole summer.
No, it's at the end
We
of
have to
June.
do something there. Do you know what I mean? Because the way it looks now is just
Is the
disrespectful.
graffiti still
I
on the
guess.
door
Yeah.
on the cemetery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that coroner reported that several times, and nobody has done anything about it.
Well, again, this was just a suggestion that, to make an effort to go after an L-chip. We wouldn't qualify to use L-chip money for repairs on tombs and things like that. There are certain guidelines. The L-chip tends to be for, the moose plate is for environmental. That's why we were accepted for the stone wall, because that's an environmental issue. The L-chip is more for buildings, or this is what was explained to me from the state, is buildings, period, type thing. We could apply maybe to get money to restore stones and tombs, but it might not be that. They might not let us, because cemeteries haven't traditionally been a part of that. So it was my recent information that I got.
Okay.
Well, and we don't have to spend any more time. I mean, does anybody else have any more comments or want to throw in whatever? I mean, because all these projects, going after them now doesn't mean, you have to start going after them because everything is so far out. So if we went for an L-chip now, we wouldn't get the money until next year sometime. So if we got it at all. Right. So, and then to coordinate, or the city would be a part of that, and, coordinating with the city when it could be done, who's going to do it, working with contractors and all of that. So it's not, I guess I just want us all to be aware that you have to apply for grants months or maybe even a year before you even get the money. So that's probably what this.
The Moose Plate grant, it has to be in June 22nd, but they don't tell you if you got the money, any money or anything till September. And then they don't even release the whole thing to you.
Mm-hmm.
They give you half of it when you start, and then when it's completed, then they give you the rest.
Mm-hmm.
So but I wonder, and I know I looked at the L-chip, it is complicated. Sue is right, there is a lot to it. When I read it, I was like overwhelmed. I thought, oh my gosh. But it made me think that, and that's a good thing to know, because I wonder if it would be very difficult to try and do something now to get it in by the end of June. But wouldn't it make sense to identify and really create the goal for next year and do all, because it is complicated and it is time consuming. It's not, I'm not trying to be Debbie Downer here, because it's totally doable. It just is, it's a time thing.
Yeah.
And it's a covering all your bases thing. So why not identify, what our project might be, and then, we have a lot of time to work on it.
That's a good point.
And
yeah.
make it a really good grant proposal, so that when next June comes around, we're ready to roll on the L-chip.
Yeah, because it's not going to be a working receiving tomb any
No.
longer. Do you know what I mean? But it's the historic significance of it being there and being appreciated and respected, I guess. So some way. Okay.
Yeah, so maybe, I agree. I think trying to rush something for this year, let's concentrate on the one that's pretty close to teed up, which is your Moose Plate. And then in terms of the L-chip, I think it would be helpful, and I just don't know enough about the program. I've heard it used for preservation of buildings a lot, you know?
That's typically, cemeteries have just been added to the list of things they would consider.
So I'm thinking, why don't we take the time, the committee take the time to kind of, you know, we can use a whiteboard and put up some suggestions and really build it out. I don't know whether the Cotton Cemetery one might be a better fit for the more typical L-chip type of program. In any event, but that's why if we maybe whiteboard it up, we'll take the criteria and spend some time and really do that work ahead of time. You know, and maybe some of the bandwidth here will ease up a little bit, because I'm still trying to get someone to help us more with the growth. So when you give me the Moose Plate grant application, I'm reviewing it with other people here who can say, oh, you know what, if you just tweak these couple of sentences, this will make it more attractive
Right.
for award. Because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to
Absolutely. Well, I can send you what I've got.
when you're ready. When you're ready. So that's my thought, and we could maybe I can bring someone here, knowing that that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at a couple of potential projects to tee up for next year, and I see if I can grab someone, and you know, I can work with Mike, because I know he's identified something, and we'll tackle some of these, and you know, Sue may have some ideas, and we'll just whiteboard them and see if we can move it along. But I'm kind of with you. I think you might be better off concentrating on the one that looks pretty well teed up. But
No, I agree. I'm just throwing it out there so we all know, because we really haven't discussed grants and things like that. So this is the first time we've had something substantial. Chris had offered a long time ago, but that fell through. So, no, that's fine. I think if in a few months, if we want to put it on the agenda, after everybody's had a chance to walk all of the graveyards and see what they, you know, might think would be a good project that we should go after. And also, I can get in touch with the state, or any of us can get in touch with the state and find out exactly what this cemetery part of their L-chip program they are actually considering.
I think that's great. I think if we tee that up with a little more understanding of what's their vision, you know, because the closer we can get to actually having all the effort that goes into grant writing actually pay off, you know, that's what I want. It'd be nice to get you a few wins on this. So,
Yeah, well, we got one down with the registry, so, okay, so does anyone else have any comment about it, or is there, yeah, Duncan?
I asked this question purely out of curiosity. Sue said that if any money came in, she would prefer to have it spent on repairing headstones. Just ballpark, how much does it cost to repair one headstone that's damaged, would you say?
Not the expert. Mr. Griffin probably can tell you a little bit more about it.
I don't have that specific number or research. Depends on the condition, the size, and what the nature of the repair might be, whether it's epoxy or,
I've seen a lot of epoxy kind of repairs on some of the other headstones in there, but I'm not sure where the cost is.
It's probably a wide range. Is what I'm thinking.
I've had we've walked with two.
Yeah.
We've had 4 different people who work on cemetery repairs of headstones and restoration. No one would commit to what it would cost individually, just for the reasons that Michael said. It really depends totally on condition, and even if it looks like it's half okay, if it has cracks and it's going to crack any time, that's not something, it's not inexpensive. It can really, because of the man hours that it would take, I've been told, again, depending on what the shape is, if you have to pull it back up and do some more work, you know, an hour, maybe even 2 on some headstones. So, and that doesn't even include tombs. Tombs are a whole different ball game, and some of them actually can't be repaired because of the condition they're in, is what we were told. A couple down there, the best you can do is if you just clean up the tops and maybe put another plaque or something on top of it, like some of them down in North Cemetery have. the families have, done up a big plaque and bolted it to the top of the tombs. So I think we had agreed upon a while ago that we would kick everything off with the cleaning because we can get that done with volunteers. However, by doing that, hopefully we're going to get more money in from donations and we'll start our fundraising. So as that comes in, we can figure out as a committee, do we want to hire so-and-so and how many headstones we can take pictures. Headstones do we want them to start off with? Because it's going to be a gradual process too. It's not going to be someone's going to come in and straighten up all the headstones in Union and North in 2 weeks. First of all, it would be very expensive because I had someone walk, you didn't come with me, I had someone walk, Richard Cyphers, who has done plenty of headstone repair in the area. He walked Cotton with me way back when, and he said he didn't even think he could do it for under $30,000. And there's only 400 headstones up there, and probably every single one needed something done to it. A lot of straightening, a lot of pulling back up. But down in North Cemetery, there are way more broken headstones than there are tilted headstones. So every cemetery is going to have its own profile and what kind of work is going to be done. So,
And North was worked on.
yeah, North has been worked on
So-
quite a bit.
So just within a few years, there's been more damage.
Right. So I think I didn't want to come across as pushing us to get the L-chip, but that wasn't my intention because all of this is going to have to be done in increments. I just wanted to throw it out there. So I don't know if that answers your question. I mean, that's,
Well, I just wanted, is it
yeah.
$100, $1,000, $5,000 per headstone? Any idea at all?
No, well, you can go up to Cotton, and he tossed out $30,000 to fix the headstones up there, and as I said, there's 400, so it was 400 into 30,000. So, and that when you fix it, have someone come in, that means they also clean it, but that's not the expensive part of it. It's, and there are a lot of headstones laying flat up there. And that's another great debate of, do you leave them in the ground or do you pull them up and straighten them up? That's the controversy, isn't it? Yeah. Some people say leave them there because they've already been damaged underneath from the environment, and that bringing them up is going to make it worse on that particular side, was my understanding. So that's another debate we will face going down the line here. So, which, as far as headstones and getting money and certifications, I spoke to Nick Cracknell, who is in the planning department, and what's his title?
I think it's assistant planning director or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I hope he doesn't hear back, but he's in the planning department. He is the liaison to the Historic District Committee. The state also has another grant program, and it's called Certified Local Government. And again, it's federally funded. They're looking to give away the money. It is geared towards cemetery, or it can be used for cemeteries. What the money is used for there is we can hire somebody to do the surveys for getting on registries or anything else, or federal grants. That's what the money's for. So, however, the HDC has to apply for it. And he's willing to do that because it not only benefits us, but there are a lot of other things that the state will come in with national information and give them update on what's going on in historical preservation. Also, they will help them map out different things. And actually, the state would actually come down and do a presentation to them that, all the benefits that they would get. And the only string attached is that they have to submit a report once a year of how many people, or how many people came before them for historic permission to do something in the area. So we're working on that, and that's not a very intensive one, so. Did you have a question?
No.
Oh, so that's could solve our problem with applying for grants, special at the federal level. We'd have an expert come in and do the writing of what kind of, in what century, and that sort of stuff.
They help with state stuff, too.
Oh, yeah.
Enormously.
Yeah, but, so that's going on out there. The Google map that Jamie's working on, he's going to push all the information onto it. This book over here I've documented every single graveyard in the city, both city and church and family plots. And that, he's going to put some of that information on a Google map that will be interactive, and then we're just going to update it after he sends it, that we can put a little history of each cemetery, and then it will be able to go on to the website. So I've shown the book to a couple like the Athenaeum and the library and things like that, and they're all very excited because no one's documented where everything really is, if it's still there, and actually come up with more cemeteries than what Louise Tallman actually did. So, but thank God for Louise. So that'll be coming pretty soon, and people are excited about that. The EDGE plan, this one right here, which I'll talk to you about, was done back in 2015. I put that out to different landscaping companies or architects, and only one got back to me so far, Piscataqua, and they're very interested in it. They read the outline, and they're interested in coming over, just walking the edge and see what's going on. So again, nothing in writing, just to see if somebody's interested in doing it. But this is totally based on the history of the cemetery. So that was also the reason behind my thinking of the tomb, because that's part of the original history of the cemetery. 101 Objects book. I don't know how many of you saw Chris's presentation at the 2 meetings ago, that city council meeting. He did a presentation update on what the committee is doing, focused on North Cemetery, some of the people that are in there and why it's important to restore and things like that. Well, someone for the 400th saw that, and they reached out to him and asked him if he would like to participate in their book, which is going to be called 101 Objects that have influenced the 400 years of the city of Portsmouth. He's excited. He's working on that right now. So that's another thing that's going to get the cemetery committee out there.
I would just want to say he did an amazing job
He
with
did.
that
Yes, he
did.
presentation. I mean, he put a lot of work into that.
Yes, he did.
And he's very good on his feet, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
agree.
I agree.
yeah.
I know that they're still, I just read like an article on this Coast Online, they're still planning things for the 400th, but is like getting more involved with that, besides just like the book, could be doing things like tours in the cemetery on that day?
Now, like that you mentioned, that was the next item on the, you read the, somehow I didn't put this on. The 400th application is due June 15th or something like that.
Yeah.
I started filling it out, but what we have to agree on is how much we want to participate in it. Eva has sent out information to everybody about some towns do a whole week on about cemetery in their celebrations or any time. If we want to just do a day, or if we want to commit to a week. And for a week, I came up with a few ideas. We could get Glenn Knobloch to do a presentation at the library one night. We're working on trying to get documentation from people who are buried in our cemeteries to display documents from that time period, and just not colonial time, but right on through, that are hidden away in archives. And the library, the Athenaeum, and Historic Center, Discovery Center said they would be interested in helping us display documents and find documents. So we could have a display, we could have Gwen Knobloch at the library, we could line up another specific cleaning day, and we can do a reenactment. So I wouldn't do 7 days, but certainly 5 days of activities. And that's a year from now. And my idea or thought was in the middle of the summer, so either in July or August. So it gives us more than a year to nail down everything that we might want to do. So any thoughts about participating for a week or just a day or?
Might I suggest, why don't, since you've kind of given some thought to
Yeah.
this, and we've heard from the committee over time, why don't we draft a proposed submission to the committee describing these, and you can bring it to the next committee meeting for final sign-off by this group. We could circulate it in advance, so you could come to the meeting having
I was just.
weighed in on it.
Yeah, next one is June 2nd, right? I
Yeah.
think, Yeah.
So-
Okay, that's fine.
Does that work? Because you guys have come up with some good things. So why don't we just get it in writing, kind of like we did when we were, doing with the, how to tee up the, gravestone cleaning. And
Right.
let's get a nice little form. We can circulate it in advance of the next meeting, and that way you guys have something very easy to edit and say, yep, that week looks good, and everyone, this project looks good. So that you can get that information off to the 400th committee as they start to, push communications out for the events. I just, sometimes it helps to actually have that written document. Yep, we all agree this is the good week we should choose in
Yeah.
July, August, whatever you ultimately decide. And I just find sometimes if it's in front of you in paper, yep, let's do that and commit to it. And then you can vote on it and move it along, because I can,
Yeah,
work
no,
with you and-
I think that's a great idea. And if anybody has any ideas, any quick ideas, I know, just email me.
reach out to you, yeah.
Yeah, reach out to me, so.
Well, more immediately, I was just going to bring this on any other business, is that I usually do something in the cemetery for Memorial Day. Last year, I just did a couple of people, we got together and we put flags in the front. And so I want to probably do a couple of tours for the cemetery that weekend, for the Memorial Day weekend.
The high school marching band go down?
Well,
The high school marching band goes down to South, doesn't it?
No, it goes down to,
to the South Cemetery.
Yeah, okay.
But what we did last year, because there's usually the North Cemetery, nothing ever gets highlighted there. So we just went there and just put American flags and some of the graves, and in that area where the big flag, the sign is. And then I announced that I would give tours a couple of days, and whoever shows up, and I just walk them through. I'll do that again this year. It's kind of my own effort to highlight the cemetery. So if the group wants to take advantage of that, I just want to offer it out there.
that's how many weeks away, a couple of weeks?
It's a Monday, the 30th, Memorial Day is a Monday, so I probably would do something that Saturday. I had to think about it, whether to do it Saturday, Sunday.
So if you'd like to draft up a little blurb, I can send it out send it to me. I can push it out to all the committee members if you want, when you fix on your date and time.
I'm planning to post it in some of the official and unofficial
Okay.
Portsmouth pages, so.
If it's
Couldn't that go
helpful,
on our cemetery
you know how to
page?
find me.
Yeah,
To Stephanie Secord
yeah, we can check with her.
pages and all that?
Yeah, if it's something official to the cemetery committee, then we can post it on
Okay.
our stuff. Yep.
And like I said, they're welcome to take that, use that opportunity. I just do it just because that's what I've been doing for the last few years. when there wasn't a committee and there wasn't anybody really paying attention. That's what I've done, just my own personal effort. But if you guys want to take that and take my time and make it, highlight whatever you want to do, I'm perfectly fine with it.
And did one of the tours you gave, didn't I see a little blurb in the Portsmouth Herald? Just saying you,
I think that the last one I did, I may have just sent a letter to the editor and say anybody wants to join me. But I think I put it in the unofficial Portsmouth page. That's how some of the people that came through.
Speaking of the Portsmouth Herald, I physically drove there again today, and they're not open.
They
I
haven't been
haven't-
open for, I don't know how many months. Nobody's working from there.
Yeah.
And I have sent out emails, made phone calls, and I can't get through to anybody. And so I wanted to try to get someone here for Saturday, but I have no luck.
You tried contacting someone through Seacoast Online?
That's who I've been working with, yeah.
So let me just, I will let Stephanie know. She can drop them a note. They have very limited resources now, so,
Have you contacted
Yeah.
Howard?
but I'm happy to let Stephanie know and,
Nobody's replying to anything, yeah.
yeah.
It's almost like we don't really have a local
No, we
newspaper.
don't.
We don't.
I think they're officially closed, and they just haven't said it and moved people to Foster's.
So I'm cognizant of the time,
Yeah, I was-
and I want to
makes
make
up, yeah.
sure that while Corin's here, because he's probably been here since early this morning, do we need any coordination pieces related to Saturday's event while Corin's here? Because in which case I can let him go and,
I've got all the cleaning supplies, D2, we've got the parking spots, they're gonna get posted, I think, tomorrow.
You're on the ball.
Already up? Perfect.
No, I mean, I'm just telling you, you're on the ball on that.
I'm on. And we have the water truck. I've got Mark Blanchette, one of my UMs, coming down. He'll be there. Probably get there around 7:30, drop off the materials, then go back and get the water truck.
Okay.
So he'll be there for you the whole time to fill buckets, and we've got the safety glasses, gloves, rags, D2, scrub brushes, kneeling pads. I don't think I'm forgetting anything.
Yeah, I had forgotten, and I picked up some toothbrushes
Great.
and some popsicle sticks, the small ones that people can use to get inside the groove, so,
Yeah, if there's something anybody thought of that they need, I could get it tomorrow, so.
no,
Weren't we going to do a quick training just before we get started?
yes, we
That
are.
would be up to you
to you
folks.
guys.
We'll
Saturday?
We'll provide the materials, and we'll be there to support.
That's
fill
pretty
buckets.
much the.
That's the game plan, we get everything, and then John Lord from New Hampshire Old Graveyard Association will be down to do a demonstration. He may be bringing 3 people to help, because he suggested we do it in pairs, because even some of the headstones, if you press on them, are wiggly, so he didn't want people to get hurt the first time out, not being totally aware of all the things that can go wrong. Right now, we have 4 outside people, and I need to volunteer for them.
okay, it should be up on the website. Stephanie said it was up on the website.
I'll double check, I didn't see
So are
it.
you focusing just on the front, right where the entrance
Yes,
is?
when you come in, we're doing section A according to the map. We're just working
You
in
guys
there.
want to leave that space open for the water truck?
Yeah.
That'll give you the most advantage of the hose weed. So we got about 100 feet of hose on the truck that he can pull up into that area
Yeah.
you're working on.
Yep,
So if he's parked right there, that would probably be the best spot for him,
yep,
right in front of the sign, basically.
okay. So, yeah, I didn't see it, but I'll double check.
Yep, I got a bunch of nylon brushes. Yeah, I've got about 20 of them.
Yeah, so I'll be there if he's dropping off at 7:30.
Roughly,
Right.
yeah, he'll be back by 8 with the water truck for everybody.
No problem.
You just can't get it all in one
Oh,
vehicle.
that's all right, because John hopefully will be there between 8:30 and ready to start at 9, so.
So you're
and
starting at 9?
The actual cleaning, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
so he could get there,
He doesn't have to be there at 7:30.
okay, I thought you were working 8 to noon for some reason.
No, it got pushed back to 9 to
9 to noon.
9 to noon, but we're going to have to sign up people beforehand.
Okay, so he'll probably drop things off at 8:30 and be there.
Oh, that's fine.
Be there at 9 with the water.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's perfect,
Okay,
yeah.
perfect.
So did we do any publicity about it, or do we want publicity?
It must have gone online
Stephanie's-
because,
Stephanie put something on?
Yeah,
I
we
haven't
sent it to the city council, and she sent it to, I'm pretty sure she sent it to the Herald, well, the Seacoast Online.
it must have come out because I got not 2 phone calls, I got 2 emails afternoon today about total people I didn't know volunteering, so I assumed it, and they were back to back, so I was assuming,
That's really good.
So somebody
yeah.
got to do that.
So, again, the
She
Portsmouth
usually
Herald,
posts that stuff to like the city's Facebook page and stuff like that.
yeah. No, I mean, she said she was going to, I haven't been online to check, but.
Okay, I'm trying to check right now, because I talked with her this morning, and she said I didn't see anyone yet having signed up on that.
A couple of people sent it to, I don't know what email they used, but France, was it, who's down, the assistant city clerk?
Assistant mayor?
No, city clerk. Oh, I don't know. She forwarded on to Chris, so, and he forwarded on to me.
It
'Cause-
made it to the unofficial page,
Okay,
yeah, 6 hours ago.
okay, the event notice.
Yeah, about the headstone cleanings.
Okay, let me see if the,
So is there anything else that you need from us, though? Just,
I think I've got everything covered as far as the materials
I
that
knew
we
you
talked
said.
about
Yeah.
last meeting, and everything's lined up, ready to go. So.
yeah, definitely, 8:30 is fine, yeah.
Can people sign up on the day, on Saturday? I mean, if we have forms there, or do they have to do it in advance?
as long as you have it's the forms I'm looking for, which is why I was trying to get the
Yeah.
forms in by Friday. But I'm not, I don't think I'll be able to be there on Saturday, so if someone wants to,
I'll make sure the forms get signed, I promise. You can fire me if we don't.
Is there a way to electronically sign it, like someone could just?
that's why I thought Stephanie was putting I don't see it, because I thought Stephanie was doing an online form where you could just fill it in and clicks, but I'm not seeing it. So I'll find out where it is. Obviously, paper copies are fine.
Yeah.
Do you have a copy of the?
No, that's what
I'll send it to
that's
you.
what I'm asking, so I can contact her too.
Yeah, it's the same one we circulated here. I can send it to you. as soon as I
Yeah,
get
if
up in
you
my
send,
office.
yeah, that would be great, yeah.
Do you want me to send it to a couple of you? I mean, any of you who are working, frankly, should sign one.
Well, that was my other question, yeah.
I should have had some today, because
I know, I could do, you know what, if you guys hang around, I can run upstairs and go print the form and bring it down.
That's fine, we still have 5 minutes, so.
I'm also taking your notes, though, so
Oh,
I
that's
can't,
right, sorry.
I
You
can
have to
run
sit
up
there.
after you.
You have to sit
I'm
there.
doing double duty here.
I'm wondering,
So you're all set, I think.
if we could have a little table
Thank you.
that says,
Thank you, Corin. You did a lot. Thank you.
No problem.
and I'll be in touch with you
Did Stephanie
too.
give you any signage, or is it for like a QR code?
No, I haven't seen anything either, so I created the one off the page. I just want to verify that it's going to, it goes to our site, but when you fill out the credit card information, it's going to the right place.
If you want to, put a little test $3 or something in it, and I can check with accounting in the morning and see if it's popping in.
Okay.
You know, put something very original, and that way
Yeah.
it'll pop.
Is there
Yeah.
signage that needs to go up?
They were gonna, I thought there was supposed to be
Yeah,
a little,
that-
like a sign that we could use for all of the cemetery.
Yeah.
Cleanings.
We can.
Do you want me to bring a few stakes so that we could attach a sign to it? When you-
That's why I'm just gonna bring a table and put these, I have some stands that we can put these on, and bring the couple of books, like the book that,
Yeah.
just for general information. And can we bring a donation jar?
Ooh, don't like cash. In the sense of.
If I swear on the
hard to
Bible
track.
that I won't steal it, that we'll all swear that we won't walk away
Yeah.
Well,
monetary money.
and this Saturday is more about
Yeah. Obviously,
A
don't
trial
don't turn
run,
it down, but you
trainer,
keep a receipt.
training.
We really
not
prefer
looking
to
well.
have good records, so checks are great. Cash is always a challenge, and, you know, in fact, for Public Works, we've now, people can now use cards, debit and credit cards.
At the front desk.
Yeah, somewhere. No, now at the recycling center, it's about to go live.
Oh,
In part because it
Really?
avoids,
That's
you know, we try and avoid cash because of, obviously, the concerns about what happens to it.
Yeah, no,
So we
I
try
understand.
and-
I've worked a lot of nonprofits.
Yeah, of course,
Girl
yeah.
Scouts. I just told that story. Thousands of dollars get stolen from Girl Scouts every year
Oh, really?
by parents who don't turn in the cookie money. Yeah.
Let me follow up with Stephanie, because I thought she was working on, you know, something like we did when we did Fleet Street. You know, we had little signage with the QR code, very handy.
Sure. Well, we've got some little A-frames. Like, do you want me to
Yeah.
put a couple on the
Oh.
truck?
Yeah,
Yeah.
why don't you do that?
Yeah, that'd be great.
And I'll double check with Stephanie if I don't reach her tonight,
Okay, we'll
tomorrow
put two
morning.
A-frames on the truck. They'll be there if you need them. And
Yeah, because I was going to bring this and stand this up too, so people.
Don't forget clips.
no, you have to attach it somehow. I can bring some a staple gun.
Yeah. Throw in
They're
anything.
just
you
little
can-
like, you know, we use
Yeah,
them at Whitney
no, that
Road,
would be
but they're
perfect.
wooden, so you could attach them.
Oh, they are. Oh, yeah. No, that would be fantastic. That would be fantastic.
Okay.
This is in the library.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything else that covers it
Current
all.
document, it's been updated.
May 7th, the 400. I can't think of anything else. I mean, this has been more than enough.
Those
Yes,
write-ups
Duncan?
I got a quick question. You mentioned Nick Cracknell as the liaison with the Historic District Committee.
Yeah.
This is it? District Committee as opposed to Historic District Commission?
Oh,
Do we have a separate
No, it's the historic.
Historic District Commission?
Commission, sorry. My miss.
That would really be their function.
Well, I
you know,
don't, is there a
okay.
big difference between committee and commission?
Yeah, the Historic District Commission is, is created by statute.
Right.
Every
So are we technically.
municipality is free to create one. They don't have to, but,
Yeah, well, so are we.
but it's not really the Historic District Commission's normal function to apply for grants and stuff like that. I mean, I don't think the providers of the grants are going to care, but it just struck me as odd.
That's the only way we can get through to it.
I'm sure
That's
they'll-
I mean, all these grants, I've been in contact with the state people, and they've been working really hard because they would like they want all kinds of cities to take advantage, but they've been after Portsmouth Historic Commission to sign up for years because we're already pre-qualified, so.
I know just enough people on the Historic District Commission that I could probably use my influence to get the ball rolling if you just need a little push.
Oh, well, yeah, well, Nick is more than, well, I meet with him next Thursday, so if, if we run into any problems, he's really receptive. He was quite excited once I brought all the information to him, so, I mean, they can benefit from it too, so. But if we need someone to take the lead, I know who to call now, so.
So, sure that I can accomplish it or not.
Yeah, I
Had
hope
her a
so.
couple of phone calls if that's what.
Well, a few months ago, they weren't interested, and now they are, so I don't know what changed their mind, but.
It's just a change of personnel. That's what changed their mind.
Well, there's lots of federal money sitting at the state level that the state wants to give out to us, so with a little work, and I think once we get,
Karen Buffard, she'll do it.
she's
in a
going to be
heart-
there Saturday.
Heartbeat just for the asking.
Yeah,
She's on the Historic District Commission.
Yeah.
Although,
Our office is right next to the cemetery.
yep, she's going to be there Saturday, too.
yeah,
So,
I'm sure she would be happy to get the ball rolling.
But again, the point is, there's a lot of federal money sitting up there. The state is working really hard. They worked with myself and with Eva. I mean, they almost fill out the forms for you because they really do want to give out the money. So I think once we get into the swing of things going forward, it will be very easy, but we might as well take advantage of it. So
Yeah.
that fewer people that we have to knock down at their doors to get them to donate the big money. So any other questions or?
I have a quick one.
Yes.
So talking about sharing it to get people involved, do we have things like Instagram and Snapchat and social medias where
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're looking for something to to post. Do you know what I
Well,
mean?
Saturday's a great opportunity to
Yeah.
post
Yeah.
and videos.
We've done-
Instagram's really where you're going to get a lot of attention from anyone who's.
Yeah, so we've done a lot of before pictures, and so we're hoping to pair those up with after cleaning pictures, and, maybe, starting an Instagram page or doing something like that, but.
And again, Suzanne, is that something that we can go ahead and do?
You can do it on your own, you can use your own accounts in terms of what you post for pictures from the event of the day. There's no issue with that. In terms of the city's site, if you get pictures to Stephanie, I'm sure she'd be interested in pushing out some messaging on it. So,
What weren't you asking if we can make one for
Can we do an
Like a
cemetery committee Instagram page? Or I have never been
or a
on it, so.
Facebook page or?
we can talk about it. I will take it up. We don't really, other than Stephanie, it tends to be a bit fragmented in how we set up pages and social media accounts. So Public Works has some, and Parking has their tweets for snow. And we have in the budget, actually, a request to have someone in the city manager's office who can do more of this and coordinate more of this, because right now it really just as there is kind of bandwidth and true need. Because of that, it takes a body to monitor it and post to it, and Stephanie's only part-time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And has a lot of responsibilities. So,
So I think we can have volunteers that are willing to do a lot of the legwork on that. I guess it's just, what are we allowed to do?
right. So if it's going to be a formal, cemetery committee, then we'd want to sign off on it.
Work with Stephanie. Or-
Yeah.
Okay.
And, yeah, well, let's talk about it then, because,
So we can
figure it out.
Yeah, and right, yeah, so right now I'd say it would be helpful to know, let's see what happens with the budget, because that will tell us whether we've got, a warm body who'll have more bandwidth to work with, not only your committee, but other committees, to work on this messaging and how to
Yeah.
get more word out on
And
different platforms.
Can we officially start fundraising corporations and stuff? Nick was all gung-ho about that.
Oh,
so.
you're welcome to ask anyone you want to put money in that, in the trust.
Well, no,
that's-
I mean, I know we decided to
Yeah.
push it back a little bit, but that's, going to the chamber co-op and hitting up some of these developers and things like that, because he told me that there have been developers that were interested in putting their name to something down at the North Cemetery, so, because they're building there, and let's make this a gem, so I just don't want to do something out of bounds.
Yeah, because you said the naming thing, and I wasn't sure the context, just recognize that the city council controls naming rights for.
Oh, I mean, like, they give us $5,000, we get to post somewhere that, the Hotel Marriott gave us $5,000 for North Cemetery restoration. We'll leave it up for, 6 months or whatever, that type of thing.
Yeah, we can talk about publicity. Yeah, when we get donations, but that has to be managed. And all donations that come into the city do get formally accepted by the city council. So when you look at their agendas, there's sometimes a long list of $5 here and $10 here and 35, right? You know this stuff. So that's why cash is also hard, because
Yeah.
you usually are formally accepting grants and donations on behalf of the city.
Yeah.
So and when they come in electronically, it's a lot easier to do that.
Yeah, well, I know. No, I guess my response was, or what I was looking for in response to trying to sell it to someone, giving them recognition outside of just, at a city council meeting, they accepted their funds.
We can talk about how, particularly if there are other events that you're doing, that you can acknowledge them you know, it's just, we're careful on how much signage where, because the city council ultimately decides any naming rights, and it's always a challenge. You know, we do things at Leary Field, you know, there are opportunities. I think it's a conversation we can take outside of the committee about how we could come up with, you know, appropriate acknowledgement pieces. And there's certainly a lot of gratitude in how you find a way to capture that and express it.
Right.
I think that's what we'll just have to noodle out.
Adopt a cemetery.
Yeah, like I said, there are ways that we do that. It's just a question of, I don't have a good answer for you. off
Yeah,
the top
no,
of
that's
my
fine.
head. Yeah.
Just bring it up so we all get an idea of what's what. I'm sorry, what?
Motion to adjourn? Are we ready to go?
Yeah.
Seconded.
Okay.
All right.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye. So we'll see you Saturday.
Okay, do you